fam, welcome back to my channel. If you guys know me, you know I love holiday movies, specifically Netflix original holiday movies. So me and my geniusness was like, I'm gonna binge every single Netflix original holiday movie for you guys so I can review them and let you know which ones to watch and which ones you could maybe skip. I watched all 19 original movies, I think I got them all, and then I included one of their holiday TV series as well. So without further ado, let's get into this. Starting off with my favorite Netflix original holiday movie, The Princess Switch. In this one, we see Vanessa Hudgens play two characters, a duchess and a baker, who switch places just before Christmas, so Margaret, the duchess, can experience normal life even just for a few days. This movie, in my opinion, is the best holiday movie Netflix has ever done, and it has everything you could ever want in a holiday film. It's got the BFF to lovers trope, the small town girl getting swept off her feet by a prince, a random far-off kingdom, a kid trying to get her dad to fall in love, and a guy that's totally Santa Claus, but it's never really explained. By far, my favorite scenes are when Margaret freaks out over shirtless Kevin and when Stacy squeals and hugs Edward outside the orphanage. If you've been on my channel for a while, you know I highly recommend this one. Next up, The Christmas Chronicles. So this is about Kat and Teddy, two siblings who accidentally ruin Christmas and then have to help Santa save it. I love this movie so much. It's just the perfect family Christmas movie. Anyone that has siblings can 100% relate to this movie. Teddy and Kate's relationship is the perfect sibling portrayal of a family at Christmas. This movie gave me major the Santa Claus vibes, which I loved because it was one of my favorite films growing up. The world building is amazing. I love how you can speak Elvish by speaking super fast. The elves are really incredibly cute and they look like something out of a Barbie movie. And my favorite scenes were definitely Santa singing in the jail and the elves taking down the bad guys. I highly recommend this one as the top family pick on this list. Continuing my fangirl sesh over the Princess Switch universe, I love the sequel. We pick up with Duchess Margaret about to take the throne and meet her cousin Fiona, who plans to become queen herself. While I was insanely looking forward to the sequel, I was also a bit nervous about it. Usually the sequels are never as good, but oh my gosh did they bring it with this one. There's definitely more comedy than the first, and the addition of Fiona as a sort of Cruella de Vil villain is just amazing. Coming in at number 4, we've got The Christmas Chronicles 2. This one was almost as good as the first for me. In this one, someone named Belschnickel tries to ruin Christmas, and in doing so brings Kate and Jack to the North Pole, so they have to help save the holiday. First off, it was crazy seeing how much the actors that played Kate and Teddy had grown up between filming this and the first one, especially since I watched these back to back. I love the addition of their stepbrother Jack, although I gotta be honest, I was slow to vibe with him at first, but by the end, I was absolutely cheering him on. The world building in this movie, again, is fantastic. I love that we gave Mrs. Claus her own village and that she has magic, but I truly can't recommend these movies enough. They're especially great if you want to watch something with the whole family. The Night Before Christmas, this movie is so precious and wholesome. In this one, we see a medieval knight, Sir Cole, transported to present day to fulfill his quest to become a true knight. It's basically the elf of the Netflix Christmas universe, or I guess we should call it the Vanessa-verse really at this point. I don't know. All I know is I would die for Sir Cole, like protect at all costs. If you love fantasy, magic, or just romance in general, then this is a holiday movie for you. You can't go wrong with Rob Lowe, Kristen Davis, and elephants. Coming in at number 6, we've got The Holiday in the Wild. This movie is about Kate, a New Yorker who goes to Africa on her second honeymoon, solo after her husband unexpectedly ends their marriage. While there, she meets Derek, Rob Lowe, a pilot, who rescues a baby elephant, and she stays to help nurse the elephant back to health. They use a real sanctuary in this movie, Lalaye, I think. I'm probably saying that wrong, but you can actually check it out. I'll put it in the description box below. Honestly, the best way to describe this movie is beautiful. I feel like if you love the holiday, you would love this movie. If you ever wish your favorite Christmas movie could just go on, then Dash and Lily is for you. This is the only TV series on this list, but it's basically just a Christmas movie that continues. This one follows Lily, who puts a red notebook with instructions next to her favorite book in the Strand, the famous bookstore in New York. Dash finds the notebook, follows her instructions, and writes her back, and they basically go back and forth giving each other dares in the notebook and falling in love. It's fun, quirky, and festive. If you're a reader, I think it was a great adaptation. I love what they added and what they kept from the book. They really nailed the spirit of the story in my opinion, and Lily is exactly how I pictured her. I love how there are so many different love stories told in this one and how three-dimensional all the characters are. I got to interview Kiana Marie, who plays Sophia, Dash's ex-girlfriend. She's incredible, and in the series you actually really love the ex-girlfriend. There's just a lot of great characters and relationships in the series, and of course the Jonas Brothers. At number 8, we've got Klaus. This is the only fully animated movie on this list, and it is such a sweet story. This one is a retelling of the origin of Santa Claus and why we started writing letters to Santa in the first place. It is just so imaginative. I love the random Addams Family-esque children that are in this animation and the adorable little like elf girl I think she is. J.K. Simmons does a great job as Klaus, and I love how central mail was to the story. I think mail and sending letters is such a lost art that I wish people would do more often. It's just a great heartfelt family film, and this is another good one to watch with the kids. Dolly Parton's Christmas on the Square. In this one, we see a rich woman go back to her small hometown after her father's death to evict everyone right before Christmas. So I went into this one knowing absolutely nothing about it, and I was pleasantly surprised to find out it was based on a musical of the same name. Now, I'm not gonna lie, it was a little bit of a slow start for me, but once it started going, oh my gosh, I just fell in love with this film. The cast and the music is fantastic. Mageline the hairdresser is one of my favorites. Her lyric, "Girlfriends are the salt of the earth, they tell you the truth even if it hurts." Oh, so good. Carl is adorable, and the kid bartender Violet, oh my gosh, this kid can sing. This movie is very spiritual and definitely a tearjerker, but it has a beautiful happy ending. So if angels, musicals, and heartfelt stories are your thing, then this is the Christmas movie for you. Jingle Jangle, A Christmas Journey. So Riverdale jokes aside, this movie is about an inventor whose apprentice betrays him, and then decades later he gets inspired again by his granddaughter's journey. I am so torn on this movie. Half of it I really loved, and half of it, I'm gonna be honest, it bored me. This movie is a musical, and I don't know how they did it, but they somehow managed to combine like Harry Potter, Wicked, Willy Wonka, Annie, and like The Wizard of Oz all in one film. And honestly, for me, I think that was the problem. It reminded me a little bit of The Golden Compass, and just there was too much visual effects, too much green screen, too many storylines going on. I think they could have scaled back a little bit. Now that being said, there were things about this movie that I really loved. Jangles and things remind me of the Weasley twins shop from Harry Potter, so it was very magical to see. The way they animated the wooden dolls in the flashbacks was beyond beautiful. Like, I would love to have a replica of one of those. This movie actually made math fun. Like, I don't even know how that's possible, but calculating the square root of possible and the circumference of amazing, I mean, like, come on. I also love that the main concept of this movie was believing that anything is possible, and of course, the best part of this movie was Journey. Madeline Mills, watch out for her, she is incredible, her voice is brilliant. I haven't stopped listening to Square Root of Possible since I watched this movie. Honestly, while I'm torn on the film as a whole, I would recommend watching this just for Madeline's performance. She is amazing in this movie. The holiday calendar, so this movie stars Kat Graham. She gets a magic advent calendar which opens each day to reveal a toy that impacts what happens to her that day. Where Christmas Inheritance is like an elevated Hallmark movie, this one for me is just like a step above that. The relationships in this movie are my favorite. They're super relatable and realistic, especially when it comes to Abby's dating life. I also love the premise of a magic advent calendar as well. I haven't seen that done before, so I think it's super unique and interesting. I recommend this one for sure. Christmas Inheritance. So in this one, Ellen Langford is a party girl heiress of a toy company, and she causes a bit too much trouble, so her dad sends her to Snow Falls. I love that town name, by the way. A small town where the company was founded to deliver Christmas letters to her dad's business partner. I love this movie so much, and not just because I love Eliza Taylor and Andie MacDowell, but you just can't help but fall in love with Ellen and Jake's story. They're both beautiful characters, and it's just the typical, the business girl finds the Christmas spirit again in the small town, and I'm a sucker for that trope. At number 13, we've got Holiday Rush. So after being fired, Rush, a radio DJ, moves in with his aunt and brings his 4 spoiled children with him. There were some really great scenes between Rush and his son. This movie definitely said screw toxic masculinity, and I want to be Roxy when I grow up. Like, oh my gosh, what a queen. She was, for me, the best part of this movie. This is just another really family-oriented film, great to watch with the kids. Operation Christmas Drop. So this movie stars Kat Graham as Erica and Alexander Ludwig as Andrew or Claus. Erica's a congressional assistant in DC, tasked with investigating an Air Force base and writing a report reasoning why it should be shut down. Andrew is the Air Force captain tasked with showing her around, and he also runs the annual Christmas Drop, which airlifts goods to the citizens of Guam for the holidays. So I'm gonna be honest, I wasn't vibing with this movie at the beginning. It's very stereotypical, but by the end it totally won me over, and I had no idea it was based on a true story, which definitely gave the movie, and for me to end credits, a lot more heart. It's just super heartfelt and sweet, and I love anything that's based on a true story. So if you're one of those, this is a good Christmas movie for you. Let It Snow. So this is the YA Love Actually, basically. For me, I remember loving this movie when it first came out, but after watching it alongside all the other movies on this list, the best way I can describe it is it's okay. Like, it's there. There are definitely cute things about this movie. Kurtin Shipka is amazing as the Duke. She's exactly how I pictured Angie in the books. I love her and Tobin's rooftop kiss. Julie and Stuart have a great storyline, and Dory is such a great character addition. I know a lot of people's problem with this movie was that it wasn't a good adaptation, but for me, all they really did was update the book for the times. I mean, the book was released in 2008, so I think it needed a little bit of an update. That being said, there are some things from the books I would have loved to see, like Addie's pink hair or keeping Julie's name as Julie, but those are like nitpicky things. Overall, this is a cute movie to watch. It has a great soundtrack, I will definitely say that. At number 16 on this list, I've got Holiday. This is definitely not your traditional Hallmark movie. Basically, in this one, we see two strangers who are sick of being single during the holidays meet up and agree to be each other's platonic plus ones for all holiday events, but of course they catch real feelings along the way. So I heard from a lot of friends and family that they were absolutely shocked by this movie, and I guess if you hadn't seen the trailer and you were just scrolling Netflix, I mean, you would just think it's a regular Christmas movie. So in A Christmas Prince, we see Rose McIver play Amber, a journalist who gets sent abroad on assignment for her magazine to get the scoop on a playboy prince who's poised to become king on Christmas Day. This is literally a Hallmark film. Like, for me, the Netflix movies are usually a step above the Hallmark movies, if not like more than that, but this one is just pure straight up Hallmark. Prince Richard for me is just not it. Comparing him to Edward and Kevin from The Princess Switch, Sir Cole from The Night Before Christmas, or even the guys from The Holiday Calendar and Christmas Inheritance, they're all just vastly above this dude. He's definitely not my favorite holiday leading man by any stretch. There are some cute things about this movie. I mean, Rose McIver is amazing, and I love that she wears Converse throughout the film because that's like the only shoe I wear. Converse, please sponsor me. And Honor is amazing as Princess Emily. She is by far my favorite part of all of the three of these films, but it's just a Hallmark movie for me. Free Reign, The 12 Days of Christmas. Okay, so there's a lot to unpack with this one. From what I gathered, it's based on a Netflix TV series called Free Reign, which is basically the British version of Heartland, which is like Canada's horse series. Basically, the stables are prepping for the mistletoe ball that the rich girl Mia is going to throw, and at the same time, the main girl Zoe breaks her grandpa's Christmas ornament, which leads her to uncover a family secret. Things that stood out to me, the solid 2000s outfits and the montage decorating sequence, phenomenal. Love the addition of the haunted Santa house with the crows and the reindeer scarecrow. Really added to the ambiance. Out of context, I'm assuming that sounds weird, but that's literally the only way I can describe it. I love that they made use of the snowstorm trope where like the snowstorm comes in and ruins everything, but then 5 minutes later it's totally gone. And I will say the mistletoe ball outfits absolutely slapped. Like the confidence of Gabby the stable hand to show up in a red dress. Overall, this was a pretty fun film to watch, especially if you hadn't watched the TV series. It gave me Barbie movie vibes, so if you're into that sort of movie or you really like horses, then check this holiday movie out. So at this point, you guys can probably guess the last two movies on this list. It's A Christmas Prince, The Royal Baby, and A Christmas Prince, The Royal Wedding. I put the third one above the second one because, oh my gosh, the second one, I do not like that movie at all. So covering The Royal Baby, in this movie we pick up with Prince, or I guess King Richard now, and Amber, and the whole movie is about them having their baby. And then there's a subplot where there's this 600-year-old tree that goes missing and they have to recover it before Christmas Day or their baby will be cursed. So in this one they brought back Sahil, and I wasn't sure why because he basically ruined their wedding in the first one. And then some of the decisions these people make, like they sent King Richard off to go get the doctor on a horse by himself while his wife is in labor. Dude, you have servants. Why are you going there? There were some things I did like about this movie, like the friendship between Queen Ming and Amber. I thought that was really sweet, as well as the scene of the kings building the crib. So there were definitely some good parts about this movie, and then of course Princess Emily, my favorite. But I don't get this series. I don't get why people like it. Like, kudos to it for giving us this Netflix holiday universe. It was basically the first one, but it's just not it for me. And coming in at number 20, last on this list, A Christmas Prince, The Royal Wedding. Again, not a fan of these films. This one comes absolute last for me because of the way Richard treated Amber in this movie. Like, I had watched The Princess Switched again, and then this one, and oh my gosh, the downgrade of the leading men was just astonishing. Like, in this movie, basically the whole movie's about their wedding, and then there's a subplot of money going missing in the kingdom, and Amber's trying to figure out with her investigative journalism skills why the money's going missing. He's just not listening to her. He's like, oh no, like, go plan the wedding, go get your dress done. And Like, no one's letting her do anything. He just dismisses her outright, and we don't need that plot anymore. I don't know what happened between this one and the first movie, because the first one was like, okay. I would skip this one. I just don't like this movie series. And that is all the Netflix original holiday movies. I hope you guys enjoyed this review and found some movies that maybe you want to check out that you haven't heard of before. Let me know in the comments what you're gonna watch or what your favorite holiday movie is, Netflix or not. I'm always looking for more movie recommendations, especially this time of year. So let me know, and I will see you guys next week for another video. Happy holidays, everyone!